This conference will now be recorded.
So today is the day 3, as I told you. So in that we were discussing about different aspect about DevOps, what is cloud and all we were discussing. Today also few of the topics whatever we are going to discuss, it is more related to a general cloud terminology, irrespective of whether you are using AWS, Azure or GCP. For all three of them, whatever topic I'm going to explain, it's applicable because this is the general cloud terminologies or the aspect I'm going to tell you. So yesterday, if we recap, we were discussing about why cloud, what was the challenge in on-premises, why we are so much interest towards cloud and all we were discussing in yesterday's session. So today we will be continuing on those, like the benefit of cloud I explained you. Apart from that, there are different aspects we have why we are going to cloud. It's not a simple plain infrastructure we are going to get from cloud. So the cloud providers, they are not only giving us support in terms of a plain infrastructure, that is something like one virtual machine they are giving to us. No, it is not like that. We have a lot of support from them, and the infrastructure itself, they differentiate into different models. So this is all cloud terminologies. So today we are going to discuss about one of the such cloud terminology, which is cloud deployment model. For example, if you are going to become a cloud administrator in the future, a DevOps person in the future, then obviously you should know all this aspect. So that is the reason we are giving a strong foundation in terms of cloud concept. So yes, I'm sharing my screen quickly. If you look at my screen, so this is the model we are going to discuss today, the deployment model. So for this, before getting into the actual cloud language, as usual, I'll be explaining you a small story kind of thing. Then I will correlate with the actual cloud terminology. So the simple example is I have a business commitment, like for my business aspect. I'm planning to travel to a different city in India. For example, I'm moving to Bangalore. I'm not based out of Bangalore. I'm from some other city, but because of my official reason, I am moving to Bangalore for just 3 days. It's a conference I have to attend. So, as it is just a conference meet, I'm going and staying in a hotel in Bangalore. So, just 3 days time. So, what I did is I booked one hotel. I stayed there, and in the hotel, I paid for my food and all other laundry, everything. I'm just utilizing the service from the hotel itself. So that is over. Next, what I did is I got one more business proposal. That is because of my business need, I have to attend one training, and this training I have to go for around like 1 month of training or 2 months of training I'm supposed to do. So what I felt is this time booking a hotel won't work out. So I have to find a solution because I'm going to stay for a longer duration there. It's not just 3 days of time. Previously, it was just 3 days, so I'm okay with that. But this time, I have to stay for almost a month or more than a month. So, what I decided is instead of staying at a hotel, I have to find another option. So, the best option, what I felt is I will go with the rented apartment kind of thing, or I would say that it is a fully furnished apartment. So it is not like I have rented it out only for 1 month of duration. I'll be using that apartment. So I'm not owning anything. I'm not going to do anything. Just I'm staying there. A full furnished apartment I'm going to utilize. So what will happen is I will have my own things. Like unlike the previous the hotel scenario, I was using the restaurant in the hotel itself for my food related aspect. I was using the laundry service of the hotel. But when I moved to the service apartment, so what happened is I have to take care of the thing. The only better option here is I will have the corresponding accessories. For example, for my kitchen, I will have a fridge and washing machine, water, maybe it's all inbuilt for me. So I'm going to pay extra to that, but I am maintaining it. I have to take care of my cooking, I have to take care of my washing, or I have to take care of the cleaning activities. But I'm utilizing a service apartment. I didn't use it for more than 1 month. Just 1 month of time I'm going to use it. After 1 month, I'll come out. So here I'm having a better comfortable when compared to a hotel, because here I can pick up and do my things as per my need. It's a customized thing I'm doing. But comparatively, the cost wise, I will be good in the service apartment because hotel I have to pay more. And the final thing, what happened is after completing my training and other things, I got a opportunity to work in Bangalore itself. I got a job in Bangalore. So 1 year or 2 year of time, I have to be there. So what I did, I went for the rent option. So I rented one house. I shifted my family there. I took my own things, like I have my own accessories, electrical appliance, everything I take it. Those are all my very own thing. I shifted everything to the rented apartment and I started building my things. Everything I have to take care. So these are the three scenarios. One is, as I am going to stay for lesser duration in Bangalore, I went to the hotel option and I utilize a inbuilt services in the hotel for my food and other things. Next thing is, as I have to go for the longer duration, that is 1 month of time, I am going with the rented apartment option, that is service apartment option. Finally, I have to shift for 1 year or 2 year of time. So obviously, I went with a rented apartment. But here, I am doing everything by my own. I have to take care of all the things. If I want to set up something, any new internet connection, I have to call the person and have to follow up to make it done. If I want to set up my cable connections, yes, I have to do by myself. Anything if I need to install in the new rented house, I have to do by myself. Nobody is going to do on behalf of me. But in the service apartment, everything was set upfront ready. I have to just go and utilize it. It's not like I have to look for internet connection. I have to look for the other setups, the AC installation. No, I'm not doing. Something is already prepared and kept it for me. I'm just going and utilizing, and I'm paying extra. Obviously, if it is empty house, the rent would be different. If it is a service apartment, I have to pay more. But I don't need to really spend a lot of time in terms of installing or following up with multiple people for the AC installation or for the TV installation. I'm not going to do any of these things. So these are the three conditions we have. Those three things, I'm going to straight away match it with the three things shown in the screen. Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. So like I told you, the three ways of your infrastructure, that is your residential problem, as I told, right? Whenever I need, I'm going with three different options. The same thing is happening in the cloud also. So if in case I want to use something readily available, in my example, I told hotel as an example, right? So in hotel, everything was readily available. I have to just go utilize it. How many days I'm staying, for that I'm going to pay. If I'm using the laundry service extra, I'll be paying for it. If I'm not using, I'm not going to pay for it. But if I'm using, I have to pay. For the if I'm utilizing the restaurant in the hotel, then obviously I have to pay for it. So, in the software as a service model, this is also one of the infrastructure option provided by the cloud providers. Irrespective whichever cloud providers we are using, they are telling that, hey, you take the infrastructure. Instead of telling that, they're saying that I have three deployment models, the same infrastructure, I'll give you in three different formats. That is, I set up everything to you. Everything I'll keep it ready. You just come, utilize it, and you have to pay for me. Simple example is Office 365. Everybody are using the Office 365 now. So in Office 365, what we are doing, at least previously, we were having a desktop version and we will have the software installed into your machine and you will be using. Nowadays, it's all URL. You can very well open the office.com. Once you open the office.com with the credential provided to you, you can access all the apps in the Office 365. You can use Outlook, Teams, Drive, everything is available. But what you are doing, you're not installing any software to your machine. You're not setting up any authorization process, nothing. What you're doing, just you have the URL provision and that URL will have a credential associated with that and that credential you're using. So basically, you need only the URL, user ID password. This is more than enough to access the office.com. But ideally, what your organization has already done, if you join an organization, they will give you the credentials to you. That is the one they are doing. But behind the screen, what they are doing, they will take care of the setup, that is account creation for you. They will take care of the what type of authentication they want. Those and all your organization is taking care. Finally, your organization is giving the relevant payment to the Office 365 associates. So this is what we are doing. So this is called software as a service. That is a method for delivering a software application. That is the cloud provider itself will host and they will manage the software application, which makes your work very easy. That is the same application on all your devices at once. That is the Office 365 app, you can have it in your laptop, you can have it in your mobile. So different devices you can utilize it. Ideally, it is a readily available software. You are utilizing, you are not doing any customization at all. You don't have any option here, like just you have the URL alone with you or the app alone with you. With your credential, you're logging in and you're utilizing it. This is called software as a service. The software itself readily available for you and you're started and you're using it. Next option, this infrastructure as a service. This is related to the rented apartment option, which I have told you. That is there any question? When I put you on mute, I think by mistake you are talking. Not. I'm putting you on mute. If you have any question, you can raise your hand and we can discuss it. Yeah, thank you. So infrastructure as a service, I want to directly correlate with the rented apartment example I've told. So in the rented apartment, what I did, I got an empty room. In the empty room, I am doing the installation of all the electrical appliances. Where I have to keep my things, which room I have to use it for my living room, which room I have to use for the study room concept. I am taking the decision. And I am taking a decision like where I can keep my appliances, where I can keep my accessories, everything I am deciding. Finally, if any of the appliance in the organization is not working, any of the appliance in the home is not working, I myself call the supporting person and they will come and they will fix it at my home. I'll take care of installation, maintenance, everything I'm taking care in the rented apartment. Similarly, in the infrastructure as a service, the cloud provider will give you just the infrastructure to you. Simple thing is they will give you one virtual machine. They will give one virtual machine to you. It won't have anything. So one machine they will give it to you. You are the one who has to take care of the setup of the virtual machine. You have to take care of any patch update is needed, any maintenance is needed on the virtual machine, any security scan needed on the virtual machine, any setup, any network connectivity, whatever you have to do for your application to work, you have to do it. So the cloud provider, they will just give a virtual machine to you. Say I have to install one .NET application. For my .NET application, I need a .NET framework to be available. Some software is needed for the application to run. So what I have to do in the virtual machine, I have to take care of the installation of the related softwares. I have to take care of the my application installation. Once my application installed, if I had asked to connect with any other application in any other server, the communications, everything I have to set it by myself. So in the infrastructure as a service, I will get only the infrastructure, a plain infrastructure. On top of it, I have to take care of the installations maintenance aspect. So that we call it as infrastructure as a service. We are thinking that no, I don't want to take a responsibility of installing a software or maintaining a software. I don't have a subject matter expert in my team, so I want to get some better service from the cloud provider. So what we are doing is, I want to use a concept called platform as a service. So in the platform as a service, they are neither an infrastructure as a service nor a software as a service. It's somewhere middle. That is, in software as a service, everything cloud provider will do, and I will just have the credential to log in. In infrastructure as a service, I don't have anything. I have to do everything from the scratch. But in the platform as a service, they have a basic setup. If I want to build an application with a specific programming or specific technique, I have the platform already ready. So what I have to do? I have to go pick up and use it. The only thing is, I have the base softwares and all. For my .NET application, I have the related softwares, patches, everything installed ready. But I'm the one who has developed a application, a e-commerce application. So I only know how to install the e-commerce application. What are all the port I have to use? How it has to be communicated to the external world? I have to decide, right? So being a platform as a service user, I will have the base setup ready. I will just go and install my very own customized application. My organization has developed an application, mean that application only I will install. Anything related to the application, I'll take care. But anything related to the infrastructure, cloud provider will take care. Anything related to the underlying the based softwares and all, cloud provider will take care. What I have to take care? The application which I am owning. If I'm an organization, company A is owning one software called or an application called application one, means that application related aspect only I have to take care. But underlying the softwares, underlying the platform related for my application to work, the technique needs to work, everything will be owned by the cloud provider. So what made my work easy? If I'm the person who nowhere aware of this operating system installation or any middleware installation, but I know how my application works fine, means what I can do? I can go for the platform as a service model, because I don't need to really upskill myself, or I have to bring in somebody who is aware of this underlying OS, this the middleware related aspect and all, because cloud provider itself is going to do the installation and all the things and keep it ready. Only my application installation, any .NET application or a Java application, which are I am owning, I know in and out about the application because my organization has developed, right? So that installation only I'll take care. That maintenance alone I'll take care. So that we call it as platform as a service. This is equivalent to the service apartment example I told, because the service apartment, I have the fully furnished thing, and I have the electrical appliance already installed and it's ready to use. I'm only going and I'm utilizing it. And again, they have a kitchen setup for me. In the kitchen, what I have to cook, it's my own choice. They have a kitchen setup. But in the kitchen, what and all I want to cook, I will cook by myself. So same thing on the platform as a service. Underlying platform would be there. In the platform, I am deploying my very own application and I am using it. So this we call it as platform as a service. So we say that access to the component they require to quickly develop and operate without worrying about the setup. Because why should I really care about the middleware? Why should I really care about the underlying OS related aspect and all? The patches, the security scanning, everything will be done by the cloud provider. But I will be concentrating more on my activity. Again, there will be difference in the cost. The same example I've taken, that is hotel cost would be different, service apartment cost would be different, and the rented apartment cost would be different. More flexible it is, more money you have to spend. Similarly, in the cloud deployment model also, more customization you are looking for, then you have to pay more. So the same order, infrastructure as a service will be relatively less when compared to the platform as a service and the software as a service, because it is you are the one who is taking care of all the control. You are not depending upon the cloud provider for any of the support. So infrastructure as a service would be less when compared to the other thing. So now This graph will help you, or this comparison will help you to understand the discussion what I told you. So far, I explained with a layman perspective by comparing with a real time, the day to day activity. This is the one which is like technical aspect, sharing the responsibility. So there are two parties in our discussion now. One is I'm the end user who is going to use a cloud. The other side is the cloud provider. He is the one who is giving me the support. So some service I'm going to use from cloud provider. So I am the one who is using the service. There are two parties in the discussion. So obviously, if you have two parties, then there is difference in the responsibility. So this one, if you understand, then it will be easy for you going forward. If you opt for any infrastructure aspect, you can easily crack it. So that's why I put it like this. So the very first and foremost thing is on premises. Okay. And next is infrastructure as a service. In short, we say IaaS. Next is platform as a service. In short, we call it as PaaS. Next is software as a service. In short, we call it as SaaS. In future, you will surely come across these terminologies when you are going to play the role of a DevOps person. Then you will have this SaaS, PaaS, and on-premises. These terminologies for sure you will come across. So this is the abbreviation, that is software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. So these three models we are going to discuss. So before even going to the comparison, just understand the responsibility. So what is the responsibility we are talking about? So yesterday I was talking about my friend's example, right? So he purchased a new building itself. So entire flow he set it for a data center. The same thing, it is a physical data center. So there is a place, a building, or a floor, whichever we can consider. So there is something called a data center. So data center is nothing but a place where you will have all the hardware and the related components. So for my softwares to work, for my application to work. So that is called data center. This is physical data center. Next thing is networks. So in the data center, I said like different hardwares are there, right? So obviously there should be a proper network connectivity setup. Then only your hardware will work. Next, the physical host. Next, you would be knowing this operating system. So operating system can be your Linux based or Windows based. So some operating system you have to install. So you have a machine. So in the data center, you have n number of servers. In that, I'm taking one server as an example. So if you have one server, then in that server, you're deploying the operating system. Once you deploy the operating system, then you have to set the network control. Let me clear it out. This is the physical network, and this is the network control for the server which I'm talking, for the application which I'm talking. So I have to set the network control. Then I have to deploy my application. Application means I have developed an e-commerce application, a .NET based application, or a Java based application. So that application I'm deploying. Once I deploy it, I have to set who has to access it. So I have to authorize, right? Who has to access, how I have to access. So I have to go with the accounts, setups, everything. Then I have to set it like where and all I can use the application. Whether I can use it only in the PC, that web version only should be there, or it is a mobile based application also. Then finally, I have to control the data. I am having a e-commerce website. So I have told that only this specific set of people can access. But finally, I have some data associated with my website, right? Like related to a user, related to the product, related to the seller. So many data I have to handle it. So these many responsibility I should own if I'm planning to run a business in terms of infrastructure. So these are the responsibilities. So now what we are going to do is we are going to compare and see that if I go for an on-premises model, out of these responsibility, what and all a owner has to take care, what are the responsibility can be shared with others. If it is an infrastructure as a model or a platform as a service or software as a service, how we can share the responsibility, that comparison only we are going to discuss. So in the bottom what we have done is we have used three different color coding. So this shade is meant to for Microsoft responsibility, this shade is meant for the customer, that is the end user responsibility. End user means the owner or whoever bought it, the two parties I told, right? Who is providing the service and who is using the cloud service. And this one is like 50-50, partially Microsoft, partially customer. So these three color shading I have used. So if you look at this in the on-premises model, on-premises nothing but the option my friend went in, right? He purchased one building. In the building he has set up his own servers room and everything he has did, right? So that model. So in the on-premises, there is no concept of sharing the responsibility. The customer itself has to do all the activities which I told, right? He has to purchase or rent out on a data center, he has to do the network related aspect, he has to do the operating system installation, application installation, and this account setup, data management, everything would be done by the on-premises owner itself. That is my customer in this case. My friend is the example I've taken yesterday. So the responsibility is sharing. It is not at all possible in the on-premises model. In and out, the customer has to take care. If an organization they are planning to go with the on-premises model, means that on-premises persons itself has to take care. They cannot get any other support from anyone else. Now, these three cloud options, the deployment options we have, right? Now let's take the very first one, the infrastructure as a service. So in the infrastructure as a service, you can see two different color codings are there. Some of them are Microsoft based, some of them are customer based responsibility. The bottom three, if you look at it, Microsoft is going to own the data center. Microsoft is going to, that is, they will be the owner of the data center. So they would have purchased or rented, whatever may be. That particular building will be owned and maintained by Microsoft itself. And any physical network setup and all, Microsoft will do it. And the host also, in my example, what I told, virtual machine provisioning and all I was talking to, right? So the host also will be provided by Microsoft itself. These three things will be provided by the Microsoft, that is the cloud provider. This is applicable for most of the cloud providers. So Microsoft is the one who is going to do the bottom three things. So anything on this, the ownership will be on the Microsoft. If there is any physical network damage, if there is any problem with the data center, the building itself going for some issues and other things, everything will be owned by Microsoft itself. The full responsibility will be on the Microsoft. Next, once I have the host, if I opt for the infrastructure as a service, I have to take care of the operating system installation. I have to take care of the network aspect, application installation, account setups, and the informations and all. So the customer has to take care of the remaining responsibility. If there is any problem in the operating system, any installation issue, or the operating system need any patch, say due to some security issue, for example, we have to install a new security patch on the OS, means customer has to do. That is, if I'm the one who is using the infrastructure as a service model from Azure, means I have to take care of the OS related issue. I have to take care of the network control issue. So any issue on this area, I have to take the responsibility. So if you look at this, comparatively less responsibility for the customer, but still lot of work we have to do. Okay, I should have a SME from the operating system background, I should have a SME from the network background and all. So lot of responsibility still for us. Second option is platform as a service. In the platform as a service, you can see there is a reduction in the color shade for customer, because these three layers are partially provided by Microsoft itself. We have to do some customization, that is operating system. I don't need to really worry because Microsoft itself will do that installation support activity. Basically, it is owned by Microsoft. So already I will have a host with the operating system deployed, and I will have the networks partially configured. Some customization needed for my application means I will take care. Similarly, these applications also, because I am the one who has developed the application, right? One e-commerce website I have developed, so I only know if any customization is needed on my installation means I will do. But some basic setup would be already done. As I told you, any .NET application if I want to do, I mean the .NET related softwares, the runtime, everything will be already available. The frameworks would be already available. And again, this identity and directory infrastructure, so partially it will be done by Microsoft. Remaining any customization for my application to work, I'll take care. But top three layers, the account setup, which application is asked to do, and what type of information I have to use and all, it's truly my own decision, because I only developed one e-commerce website, so I only know what type of data I'm going to use. It's truly my business need. It's truly the business requirement. Whether it should be a web application or it is a mobile based application, is truly my business driven one. So there Azure cannot come and do a customization. So it is in my control. Finally, software as a service. So here I don't have to do any of the things. Everything was already done by Azure itself, that is Microsoft itself. I'm just going to utilize the application. As I told the example of Office 365, so they have the data center, they already set up the network, they hosted the machines, and they have the operating system, and the Office 365 application also they have installed, and partially these directories and all will be added. So what I have to do as a customer, I have to just work on like provisioning the service, like who has to use it. If I'm the company who is utilizing this Office 365 means I only has to decide whether I should give the access to everyone or only to a specific set of people. So that customization only I have to do. And whether this application I should allow my employee to use only in the web-based format or even in the mobile, I can allow them using multi-factor authentications and all, I have to take care. So in the software as a service model, again, most of them, wherever there is a room that can be fully controlled, Microsoft is taking the full control. Only the places where the customization is needed as per the user preferences, because everyone preference would be different. Company 1 will have different preference, company 2 will have different preference in terms of Office 365 utilization. So that area alone, they kept it to the user responsibility. Remaining everything are owned by or maintained by the Azure itself, the Microsoft itself. So this is the comparison model of four different deployment models. So on-premises, infrastructure as a service, PaaS, and SaaS. So if you look at this, the responsibilities transferred to cloud providers. Slowly you can see the responsibilities are moving towards the cloud provider. So the responsibility, the top three responsibility will be always retained by customer, because it is truly the user preferred one. There Microsoft cannot do the customization or readily available model, because I have to say whether it should work in mobile or web and all. So those three parts alone, it is common for all areas. So here the bottom layers are there, right? These layers, the responsibility vary based upon the different deployment type. So this is the important concept, I would say, in the cloud, because when you become a DevOps person, when you become the cloud person, you should know which service I should use. It's not like every time I will use only a simple virtual machine. So if my intention is to use one email service means, why I should go and create a virtual machine. In the virtual machine, why I should install the email servers, do set up everything by my own. I don't need to do it, right? Instead of that, I can go for the software as a service, something which is already available. The email service is already available, means I will go and utilize that service in the Azure. Just I will be using the credentials provided. I'm going to pay for it because email server maintenance, any patch update, any other monitoring, I don't need to really spend a lot of time there. So that is the reason you should know what are the different types available and what are the options available, and we will be utilizing. So when I show you the Azure portal, I'll be showing like how you will come to know whether it is a platform as a service or infrastructure as a service. Those and all I'll be sharing. And one foremost important thing is, if you get into the model, it's not like always we have to consider only the user friendly, because the DevOps person is not only meant for the technical thing. We have to concentrate on the cost also, because you have to stand for your business too. So we have to come to a solution which is best fitted in terms of business requirement and cost. Again, nowadays, there are different groups in the cloud itself. To be frank, I would say before landing to the DevOps person, there would be a solutioning team. A cloud solutioning team would be there. If any organization, they're planning to move to cloud, either from on premises to Azure or for AWS to Azure, there will be a solutioning team. What they will do is, a group of architects would be there, the cloud based architects. So they will do analysis about the customer need. What is the pain point? Like, what are the issues they are facing with the current infrastructure? What is the best match? So they itself will already select your landing zone. They will say that here you can use virtual machine, here you can use Azure functions, here you can go for a server based one, here you can go for the serverless architecture. The solution team will already decide your infrastructure. They will have a blueprint creator, and that blueprint they will share it with the delivery people. So DevOps will come under the delivery aspect. So when it comes to that, you can easily follow it and you can utilize. Still, you will be contributing on the cost, because you can ask me that you be already somebody has decided an architecture and they're giving me what else I can modify. Still, there is a room for the cost improvement. Whenever you feel that some resources are not at all used, that's where we have the monitoring option, right? Whenever you feel some resources are not used or less utilized, as a DevOps person, you can very well give your idea that you can terminate those services, because if it is not at all used, why we should have it, why we have to pay it to Ashu. So you can very well analysis and say this particular machine is not at all used for last 3 months or 6 months. You can work with the business and you can very well terminate the service, and it will bring the cost down. So there are different areas. So they itself, nowadays what I feel is ideally it should be the DevOps role, but in most of the organization, this particular SaaS selection, PaaS selection, or infrastructure as a service selection was already done by the solutioning team. The solution team is aware of the DevOps model. The solution team, they aware of this costing models and all. So they will create a structure and they will say that in Azure, for this particular deliverable, you use virtual machine. For this particular deliverable, you use this database. So they itself will have a clear picture. So that picture only you're going to deliver it through automation. Okay, so it's good to know the other area also, but nowadays it made our work easy. That organization will have different architects for that, and they're doing. Going forward, over a period of time, if you gradually move from a DevOps engineer to a DevOps architect, then you will be plugged into the discussion also, the solutioning part and all. And that time you can give your valuable inputs. So that is a one. Next thing is geography versus region. Just a minute. Okay, fine. Geography versus region. So now we are entering into the cloud world. So there are some tech terminologies you will be earning. So especially in Azure, this is the terminology we'll be using in terms of the location. In very simple language, I will say it's a location. So where the data center located. So that location, we call it in different terminologies. So three terminologies you should be aware. One is geography, next is region, and third one is availability zone. Even the subcategory is there, which is called availability set. So this is the one we are going to discuss now. So geography is nothing but it's a country level. So geography, which geography the data center is located? Somebody is asking me. So we'll say in India it is located. In US it is located. So that's what we'd say. It is geography means it is a country. And next is region based. In India itself, we have data center in three different regions. Something on south side, South India, something on North India, so something on West India. For example, we have in three different regions. So that we call it as regions. So three different states. Simple thing for you to understand. In three different states we have. So we call it as region. So in US, there are a lot of data centers. So you have something called US East, East 1, West, West 1. So when I show the portal demo, obviously I'll be showing the demos in the virtual machines creations and all. There I will show you how many data centers we have in US itself. In US East itself, we have a lot of options. In West itself, we have a lot of options. So region means it is a subcategory of your country. So in simple, I would say it's a state. In India, we have different states. Next thing is in the same state. Say for example, in Hyderabad, I have a region called Hyderabad. So, or the South India, I'll call it as the region would be South India. In South India itself, I will have three different zones. Okay, so three different zones in South India means three different cities. So that we call it as zones. So this is the country, this is the state, and these I would say it's a city, three different cities. So in the South India, in three different cities, I have my data center means that I'll call it as availability zone. But even in the same city, I have two different buildings. So in Hyderabad itself, I have two different buildings. So that I call it as the building number one, I'll call it as data center one. The building number two, I call it as data center two. So in single availability zone, I can have more than one data center. So again, I'm saying a single geography can have multiple region. A single region can have multiple zone. A single availability zone can have multiple building, that is multiple data center. Then final drill down thing is in a single building, I can have two different data, that is availability set, which is called in a single building itself. Let's consider these two as a two different wardrobe kind of thing. Okay, this is one server one and this is another server. So this is one wardrobe and another wardrobe. So this wardrobe will have some set of server related aspect, and this wardrobe, that is this server, will have some set of aspect. So I may install my application in this server also. I can install my application in this server also. So this is how we drill down. Now I'll explain you why this is really important. Why I should have these many regions. Why should I have these many availability zone? Why I should have these many data center. Simple thing is, say for example, I have a application and that application is installed in only one. Again, I have only one building, that is called these categorization and all, not at all there. In India, I have a data center, and in the data center, I install my application. Say Hyderabad has one data center, I install it. But something happened in Hyderabad city. Some natural disaster has happened. That building itself is down. What will happen to my business? I have the people, end users throughout the world. Anybody will be using my e-commerce website, but just because the Hyderabad is down due to some natural disaster, my website will be down. I cannot run my business. That shouldn't be the case, right? So that's why these cloud providers are giving these many options. That is, you can have your application in 3 different regions. So you can install your application in US East, you can install your application in US West. So 2 different copies you can have. So if entire US East itself is down, means no problem. You have your application installed in US West. You can very well run it. There is no problem. Your business will run. Okay. You feel that no, I don't want to go with this model. I want to go with the model of the other thing. That is 3 different cities I can keep. In US East itself, I will use my applications. So I don't want to install my application in West and all, because my company is following some standard. So as per the standard, my data should be within US East only. I should not keep my data in the West region. If that is the case, no problem. In the US Eats itself, you will have 3 different options. That is, in 3 different cities, you will have 3 different buildings. You can install it. So if any one city goes down, also no problem. You have the copies in other 2 cities and you can use it. Next thing is, you feel that no, I don't want to do it. My business is not that much of critical one. So I will go ahead with the simple format. Yes, you can do. That is, in the same city, there are 2 buildings. So what you can do, you will install your application in data center 1, the building 1, and the copy you can keep it in the data center 2. That is in another building. So if any one building goes down, with the other building you can survive. You can say that UV, my application is not that much of sensitive at all. I don't want to go with this option also. I want even the simple one. Yes, possible. So in the same building, in the same data center, you can have your application in 2 different availability sets. So in one availability set, you can install your application. In the other set also, you can keep your application. So you can have a copy, and if anything fails, you can very well run. But I've told in the reverse order, right? I will tell you the issues also. If you go for availability set, what will happen, what is the better option and all. Say for example, there is a power shutdown in a particular building. So what will happen? Both the copies are available in the same building. If the entire building is down with a power issue, obviously my whole business will go. So what I have to do? I have to go with the better option, that is at least keeping in 2 different data centers. Again, okay, I'm keeping in 2 different data centers. What is the problem here? If both the buildings are in the same city, there is a challenge due to natural disaster. Both the buildings may go down. So my business can be in a problem. Okay, I don't want to take this chance also. The next thing is, I can go for the 3 different cities options. This also we can do, but as I told you, there are so many things we are hearing nowadays. If the entire region itself is down, all 3 cities are down, what I will do? The best thing is, I have to go for the region distribution. So all the 3 flavors I told, why I'm telling you is, based upon the criticality of your business, based upon the users of your business, you can pick and choose your data spreading. If you feel that my application needs to be available, that is 99.99 availability, this is the expectation of any customer nowadays. They are not ready to lose anything. They want the system to be available always. If you are the one who feel that I want a better availability, then you can go for the region wise distribution. So you can have your application in multiple regions. If you feel that no, I don't want to spend so much of money, at the same time I don't want to go for a lesser availability also, I want to have a better availability, and at the same time I want to pay less, then you can go for this option, availability zone distribution. So the possibility of uh, availability issue is less, because you are scattered with 3 different cities. At the same time, you're not going to pay much. So that is the reason we are using these many options. But Azure side, they are not restricting you. They are giving options to, you can keep it in different states, you can keep it in different city, you can keep it in different buildings, but based upon the options you are selecting, you are going to pay for it more security or more availability you're going, then obviously you will be end up in paying. Okay, so this is the one. So I think the next and all we can continue tomorrow.